It was a break and retest short. It was only for 10 minutes in that trade, so it was a pretty good trade. But let me go to my notes and show you guys. Hey guys, it's Will. Welcome to the channel. I'm a part-time day trader trying to become a full-time. Today is April 21st. I did not review any of my April trades because I was in Japan. I am going to break down all the trades. I only did take 3 trades out of the 3 weeks, which that is not a lot. The last week I did not take any trades because there was no setups at all. I did not take any trades. I did not want to get messed up on the channel that there was on the market. And I know that a lot of people had lost last week because they were trying to trade in the channel and it was very choppy and they lost, and I just stayed away from that. I want to see intraday break and retests, and I did not see that, so I did not take any trade. Even though I want to trade, there's no setup, so there is no trade. First, I am going to go to the filter and put April 1st to the Friday. I'm going to change the privacy filter to dollar amount. We are up $20.39 up here. Win percentage is 100% because it was only one trade. I'm going to break down this trade real quick. I did take only one trade, like I said. The risk reward was 21.55%. It wasn't that great, but it is still a win. And I'm going to show you guys the trade. It was a break and retest short, and it was only for 10 minutes in that trade. So it was a pretty good trade. But let me go to my notes and show you guys. So here's a 30-minute on the QQQ. My charts are a little different because I have been using my MacBook to trade. Here is my levels. I always draw boxes. I don't draw the boxes where I can see them, but I have a box mentally. And the low is right here. We see that the low of the QQQ, this is a low, which is the 454, and the high is 462. What I do is I have a mental block in my head. I have a block. Even though there is a level right here, I don't really like trading that level, but it really depends. It really does depend. I look at the other markets as well. This is my main channel, and what I want to see for a long, if I'm trying to long the market, I look for a break and then I look for a retest of that level. So it is making a higher low, and then I take it for a long. If it's weak, I look for a breakdown of the previous day lows or the pre-market, and then I look for a break and I look for a retest and I play my short off there. The market is holding this lower here. It's that pre-market lower there, and then it does another lower there. So that's a double bottom low. That is pretty strong level, and if it does break, I can play a retest short off that level. Here is the 2-minute on the QQQ. Like I said, my level was the 457 and also the 462. We can see that it does do a proper break and retest of the 457, which that was my smaller level, but we can see that it doesn't really do a proper hold, and then it just falls back down. And that's why I don't really have that as a strong level. It's just a level to just take in consideration, but it is not a strong level that I like to trade off. And then we see the 457 do a false breakout because it was not strong, so then it fell back down, and I do like playing a short off of that. Even though my target was 454, like this, like if it breaks, then I'll play a retest short off that level. But I also do like false breakouts. I do like if a level is trying to break up, and if it does do a retest, you can play long off that level, right? But if it's weak, it will fall back down because it wasn't a strong level, and then I can play a retest short off that level. When it retests, I can play a short off that level, and that's exactly what I did. We see here that it does start retesting the level, but I don't take it there because it's not a level that I really like taking. But once I saw it starts to retest the level more, and it keeps rejecting, and then I just decided that I wanted to play a short off that level. My entry was this green arrow here, and I took it off right there and went to hit the demand zone, and that was a 20%. It did go lower to the 450. I was also looking at the SPY. We see that it is retesting the level on the SPY, which is 554. Usually it retests more, and that's when I want to take it. When it actually starts going up, when people start getting scared, that's when I take my retest, and I shorted off that level. The demand zone was 540 on the SPY, and I could have held it there, which I probably should have. And when it actually started working, I just got off because I was trying to respect the QQQ, so that's why I got off. If I'm able to scale out, then I do want to respect the Qs, and then I can wait longer until I hit this demand zone on the SPY. I did not take any live trades, but this is how I normally have my charts. It is 4 screens, and I look at the QQQ, I look at the SPY, I look for the NASDAQ, and I also look at the ES. So I make sure that they're all aligning, right? At first, the level did start breaking down. I did not want to play a short off that level first, but I was making sure, waiting for confirmation. And then when I started seeing it break back up but still rejecting, that's when I decided to play my short off that level. I was playing conservative and trying to respect this zone on the QQQ because it was the pre-market zone, but it did break down. It still had more room for these areas of demand, and that's where I should have got out. But I was just trying to be protective, and it is still a good trade. Here now is all the 30-minute charts. Even though it did not break the Q's lows, which was a 454, that's where I would have liked to trade my short position. But it did already start breaking the lows of the SPY right here and the ES. That's why when it did do a break of that level, that's where I got interested in shorting it, because it is still a previous day low break on the other markets. So I did win $20 on that week. I'm gonna go to the next week, which is the 7th to the 11th. I did take only 2 trades. I did take a loss and I did take a win, but we are still up $8, which is still better than nothing. Profit factor is 1.51 and my average win to loss was 1.5. Basically, I had a break-even trade. I had one win, had one loss. My winner was bigger than my loser, so that's why I did take a W on that week. I'm gonna go to my first trade. I did lose 24%, and then my second trade, which is the Friday, I did win 33%, and that's why with the reward, that's why I am up. Here's the 30-minute on the day. Honestly, just looking at this, I'm like, I don't even remember where I took the trade because this looks so confusing. At least for this week, the volume was crazy. I don't even know what happened. I think something happened with the tariffs and the volume was just insane. The market went up like 10% that day. We can see that it was around 510 and it went all the way to like 550 or something. That's like a 30-point move. That is insane, because that is something you can't ever get in a single day. That probably might take you like 2 weeks or something. But in a single day, to get to like 10% in one single day, the S&P 500 averages around 8 to 10% in a year. But just doing that in one day is insane. I'm surprised I took a trade, but that happened later day. So I'm going to look at the SPY right now because it is more clear. My zone on the SPY is about the lowest right here, and my high is probably right here. And if I was trying to long, then yes, it'll probably be up here where I take my long position. But the low was right here. I was looking for the pre-market high was this level here, so maybe that's why I was thinking of shorting. But I am going to go to the 2-minute chart to see. Here's my trade. The green arrow again is where I shorted, and my red arrow is where I got off. It did respect this demand zone on the QQQ, which was the 415. It started going back up, and I just thought I can just play a retest short on this level right here. The candles was strong, and I don't even know why I was thinking of shorting it. Going back to retest that level, and it didn't really give me a proper retest over here. That's why I was like, I do want to play this retest now. I don't think that was a good area to short because it did not really give me that retest here, and then it respected this demand zone. So if I did short it here, it will have to go back to this demand zone for me to actually win, and that's unlikely. I should have played off the SPY because it was around this area where I started to short the position, but it didn't really make sense. I should have waited for it to get back to this supply zone, and then I should play my short off that and then target this 495 area. And I just didn't give enough time. I shorted too early, and that's why I lost in that trade. And I don't even know if this even is a good trade. I'm just playing through my zones, and it's not really a A+ setup if I'm being honest. My A+ setup probably would have been the breakdown of the 415 and the 495 for a retest short on that level. I did take a small loss on that trade, so it wasn't too bad. Coming into Thursday now, it is a bit more clear than before, because before it was just random lines everywhere. First, the structure of my level is the 467, which is the supply zone, and the low right here on the pre-market, and my level right here is the 451. So if it does break down that level, I can play retest short. The SPY, my level is right here, 526.50. It's kind of hard to read the level because the screen is like different. Here's a 2-minute chart, and it is more clear now because I can see a lot easier. It did start breaking down this 451 earlier in the day, but it was too close to my zone right here. So when it's too close, I don't play a retest short because it can do fake outs. I like a proper breakdown. I like it when it breaks down a lot and then slowly starts to retesting the level. But this is not really a proper breakdown, and that's why people who are trying to short there, they just lost. And plus, I look at other markets, right? I look at other markets. Even though it's breaking down this level, it is holding this demand zones on the SPY and the ES. So I can't short right there. There's no point of shorting when we are at demand zones. And that's why it did get bought back up. That means I shouldn't short it there. I wait for the next breakdown. I'm starting to see it break down again. I still don't take it there. And like I said, I like it when it starts breaking down more. And when it slowly starts retesting the level, I'm like, this market looks weak. It's breaking the NASDAQ level too. And I think I should play a short here. Even though it's holding this demand zone, it could be a potential demand zone hold. But I'm believing that the market is breaking down because we are starting to see the downtrend, and it is aligning properly the new supply zone that we have in the market. It is retesting the zone. So I said, I'm just going to play off right here. Even though it's right at the supply zone and right at the line, I was like, this is the best risk reward. I just have to take it. And I just did. And I got a really good risk reward. I did sell out early around this area right here. This is my red arrow. That's where the demand zone was. I was just trying to respect this zone right here. The market was stronger on the NASDAQ and the QQQ, but I just got scared out and I sold. When the trade was actually working, and you can see that it goes all the way down here, I could have got a really good trade off that, but I just was just trying to respect the zone. I played off the Nasdaq and the Qs, so I should have just held longer and wait for the actual demand zone to hit on the Qs and the Nasdaq. If I go to the Nasdaq, I did get out around this area. When the trade is actually starting to work, I got out, which that's pretty dumb of me. I just got scared. I wanted to play protected, to be honest. We can see that it goes beautifully to the next demand zone, and that's where I should have started getting out. When the trades actually started working, it starts rejecting this level. It just looks really clear. It looks really clear. It's starting to reject the level, but it is a W, so I did get it 30%. I did risk probably only like 10%, and that's still a really good trade. So that was probably like a 3-to-1 trade. That is the recap for the last 3 weeks, and we are up slightly, and that is still better than nothing. And what I like to say is, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Keep staying disciplined, keep staying consistent, and let's just get 1% better every day. And I'll see you in the next one.